The Bridge at South River, New Jersey, presented by the South River Historical and Preservation Society. The beginnings of the bridge at South River date back at least as far as 1831, when an act to provide for the building of a drawbridge across South River in the county of Middlesex was signed into state law on February 14th. The law incorporated the Washington Bridge Company to build and maintain a good and sufficient drawbridge over South River in the county of Middlesex at or near the village of Washington. The original owners of the company were Joseph M. Taylor, Christopher Vandeventer, Aaron Gulick, and their present and future associates. The law authorized the Washington Bridge Company to build a gate where they shall think most convenient, upon or across the said bridge, and to demand and receive a toll from all and every person or persons who shall pass over the same. Tolls were to be determined based on the type of vehicle and the number of horses, as well as for people riding or walking, and for livestock. Little information has been found about the first bridge over the South River at the village of Washington. In his History of South River, New Jersey, Jesse Slover wrote that the Causeway and the South River Bridge were built by Daniel B. Martin and Zenas Vandeventer in 1860. Yet Otley and Keeley's 1850 map of Middlesex County appears to already indicate the existence of a bridge. The P. Vandeventer identified on the map is likely Peter Vandeventer, one of the sons of the Christopher Vandeventer cited in the 1831 law. Zenas Vandeventer, credited with building the bridge with Daniel B. Martin, was Peter's brother. Zenas was married to Julia Ann Martin. In 1859, the state passed a second law establishing a company for the purpose of building a draw or swing bridge over and across the South River at or near the village of Washington. The proponents of the South River Bridge Company, Whitehead, Borum, McDowell, Peterson, Reed, and Snedeker, were all well-known local men. The toll rates were considerably lessened in the new law. Passage for a carriage with 4 horses dropped from 31 1/4 cents to 6 cents. The rate for a person on foot dropped from 2 cents to 1. Given the timing of the new law, it seems likely that the 1860 bridge referenced by Slover was built under the auspices of the new company, even though those credited with building it had obvious connections to the company established in 1831. According to a subsequent newspaper article, the Washington Bridge Company purchased the 1860-era bridge shortly after its completion. The state passed a third law related to the bridge in 1873. An act to authorize the purchase of the bridge of the Washington Bridge Company over the South River, Middlesex County, New Jersey, was enacted on April 4th. It took another 4 years before the transfer actually occurred. By 1877, the South River Bridge was the only remaining toll bridge in Middlesex County. Early in the year, a proposal that the bridge be purchased and made open to the public was put forward to the Middlesex County freeholders. The final vote on the proposal took place on April 11th, when the purchase of the bridge was approved at a cost of $11,000. In 1892, the Board of Chosen Freeholders of Middlesex County contracted for the erection of an iron girder double drawbridge to replace the existing bridge. On March 28th, the firm of Dean and Westbrook were hired as the contractors. The cost was set at $9,875, with the project set for completion by August 15th. The oldest identified image of the bridge at South River is thought to be of the 1892 bridge. The postcard view has a Sayreville postmark from August 1907. In 1915, with approval from the War Department, the county made plans to once again replace the bridge. The General Engineering and Contracting Company of New York City was awarded the contract for $66,714 in July. In August, the bridge tender's house on the South River side of the bridge was moved to provide an approach for the temporary bridge that was put in place while the new bridge was being built. Middlesex County passed a $69,000 bond issue to pay for the cost of the new bridge. The temporary bridge was put in place, but in September 1915, trolley traffic across it was stopped because the bridge was considered too weak to bear the weight of the big trolleys. At the same time, additional buildings on the South River side were being moved to new locations to make way for the new entrance to the bridge and eliminate a dangerous bend leading up to it. With the temporary bridge unable to handle trolleys, the 1892 bridge was repaired in October so that trolleys could once again resume passage over the river. The first trolley passed over the new bridge in September 1916, but the bridge wasn't completed until months later when the guardrails finally arrived and were installed. The new bridge was a vertical overhead counterweight type with a single 75-foot leaf. It was designed by the Strauss Bascule Bridge Company. According to company literature, the style was best adapted for locations where there is little clearance between water level and underside of bridge for leaf lengths up to 100 feet, where economy is a prime consideration. Planning for a replacement for the Causeway Bridge was begun in 1966. 6 years later, in September 1972, a contract was finally awarded to the Chevron Construction Company of Secaucus. Their bid on the project was $3.75 million. Construction was begun in March 1973. On July 24, 1974, the new concrete and steel bridge opened. Unlike previous bridges, it was constructed as a single fixed span rather than as a drawbridge. It rises 25 feet above the main channel of the river. The bridge was officially renamed the Veterans Memorial Bridge on November 7, 1974. In August 1974, the old Causeway Bridge was demolished.